Matt Rhule came to Nebraska 3 seasons ago. They won 5 games. Last year, they won 7 games. And again, this preseason, we had all the Dylan Raiola hype, the Nebraska hype. Is it legit? I'm Ralph Michaels, and I'm breaking down this game of Nebraska and Michigan State. This is brought to you by the Gold Sheet Newsletter. The Gold Sheet Newsletter, this is an actual key release in this week's issue. The Gold Sheet Newsletter has a write-up on every NFL game and every FBS versus FBS game. It's loaded every Tuesday evening. It's $19 for the week or $159 weekly through the Super Bowl. Check it out at wagertalk.com. Now, while this is an actual play from the Gold Sheet, I'm going to throw in some notes at the beginning of this video. So these are my opinions and not necessarily the Gold Sheet's. The play at the end of the video is an actual key release. Now, Matt Rhule is a coach that I love. I love traditional football coaches that come in. They don't try to change too much season one. They see what they have to work with. They build on it. They improve season 2. And then season 3, when they have their full recruiting classes in swing, you see big improvements. Let me give you the examples for Mr. Matt Rhule. At Temple, first year, he took over a team. They only averaged 299 yards per game, outgained by 75 yards. Season 2, they averaged 277 yards per game with some QB injuries. They were minus 39 yards per game. They still improved. Year 3, the offense exploded, 417 yards per game, and they were plus 30 yards per game, a 105 yard per game improvement from season 1. Baylor, 1-11 in 2017, the first season, outgained by 52 yards per game. They got a 7-6 his second season, 384 yards per game, plus 34 yards per game differential. And then 2019, they get to 11-3, 471 yards per game in offense. This first time at Nebraska 2023, only 18 points per game, 313 yards on offense, plus 9 yards per game. Year 2, 23.5 points per game, 359 yards per game, plus 31 yards per game. Now, season 2 of Dylan Raiola, I think the hype is legit. We see an offense in the Nebraska Cornhuskers that, again, you have to take this with a grain of salt. The offense is number 13, averaging 497 yards per game. The scoring offense is number 12, averaging 44 yards per game. And they are number 9 with 33 explosive plays of 10 yards or more. Now, why did I say take it with a grain of salt? Nebraska's played one of the weakest Power 4 conference schedules in the entire country. Their strength of schedule, 129. So we'll have to see if they're made of the right stuff in this week. They're also, with Dylan Raiola, a year of experience, pressing the pace. They are number 21 with 72.5 yards per play. Now, I did want to share one system for you. Again, TNA, if it's not what you think it is, get your mind out of the gutter. It means trends and angles. When you have a favorite up to 15.5 versus a team off a loss as an away dog, but they covered the spread, and they still have a winning record of 55% or more, those favorites up to 15.5, like Nebraska, 88-49 with 4 ATS pushes, that is 64.2% against the spread. Both teams had very slow starts to the season. They both won, but they did not play well against as favorites. Michigan State played Western Michigan. They only won the game 23-6 as a big favorite. They only had 336 yards of offense, but they did hold Western to 10 first downs and 217 yards. Against Boston College, they were minus 77 yards, but special teams play and some good red zone offense and defense, even though they were outgained by 77 yards, they pull away with a 42-40 win. Youngstown State, again, not a good game. They only finished with a 105-yard edge, beating the Penguins 41-24. And then last week against USC, they hurt me. I had a big play on USC. Michigan State scores a long touchdown in the last couple minutes for the backdoor cover. But again, they still put up 337 yards, losing that game 45-41. Nebraska had a much tougher challenge. They played two very good foes in Cincinnati and Michigan. Against Cincinnati, a solid game. They were plus 2 turnovers. They finished with an 82-yard edge in the 20-17 win. Akron. Oh yeah, by the way, Brian Leonard is an alum of Akron. He's visiting me right now. So Brian, it was Nebraska 68, Akron 0 with a 728 to 175-yard edge. I just want you to remember that. Against Houston Christian, they win that game 59-7. And against Michigan, they played a good game, folks. Turnovers were even. They were outgained by 40 yards, but they had a 23-16 first down edge in that 30-27 loss. Both teams identical, playing a low-scoring first game that went under the total, and both teams went over the total each of their last 3 games. I went to the database for this and looked up some TNA since 2011. So we are talking 15 seasons. This is only the 15th Big Ten game where conference teams are playing each other and each went over each of the last 3 games. They've gone 10-4 over under. That is 71%. Also, Big Ten games with both teams off byes. They've gone 60-49. That is 55% over under. And if the total is 47 or higher, those teams have gone 43-29, 64% over under. Again, that is both teams with byes. Michigan State, Aiden Childs, guys, 69%, an 8.5 YPA, and a 9-1 ratio. Very solid job. The rush attack, averaging 154, a little on the light side, yards per carry at 4.3. But their defense, playing poorly. They allowed 457 yards at home to Boston College. They allowed 523 yards to USC, including 289 yards rushing, which translated on 40 carries to 7.2 yards per carry. The Nebraska defense, while the numbers are strong, 271 yards to Cincinnati, the Akron and Houston Christian games, guys, you could just throw that away as Nebraska goes into their conference schedule. Against Cincinnati, they allowed 202 yards rushing. Against Michigan, they allowed 391 total yards and 286, 8.7 rushing. Michigan State will be able to run the ball against Nebraska. Nebraska, even though they struggled last week against Michigan, this is not the Michigan defensive front 7. Nebraska will be able to run the ball against Michigan State. Both quarterbacks are going to have numerous opportunities for play action and to stretch the field. You look at Nebraska's receivers, they've got 4 receivers with over 13 carries, 3 receivers with over 200 yards rushing, 200 yards receiving, and they're all solid YPCs, 14.3, 14.1, 15.2. Then they have Cortez Mills in there who really stretches the field, 6 catches, 21.3 yards per carry. Omari Kelly, the main receiver for Michigan State, 317 yards, 15.1. And Christian McCray, their field stretcher, 7 receptions, averaging 18.3 yards per carry. I have no real opinion in the game, but before I get to Gold Sheet's play, you probably know what it is. Let me remind you, Gold Sheet, the oldest and most respected newsletter in the country, now part of Wager Talk. $19 for one issue, $159 for the whole week. And also let me remind you, since the start of college football in 2024, Ralph Michaels is number 2 in college football at Wager Talk, having a great season this year as well. I have a 5%, my football 5%, 9-1, 90%, That goes Friday. If you're interested in my Saturday college football and my Sunday NFL, or anyone at Wager Talk, including the Gold Sheet, the Weekend Warrior, just $49. And if the service you chooses has a Monday night football play, you will receive that as a bonus. Well, the TNA says over. The stats say over. The quarterbacks say over. And guess what? The Gold Sheet says over as well. Nebraska is 11.5-point favorite. This total 48.5. Thank you, Gold Sheet, for that play. And remember, smash that like button. Leave a comment. Anything you want added to these videos, taken away. You hitting that like button and leaving comments are the reason we are able to provide you all this free content. And make sure you follow Wager Talk on all their social media networks. Over 300,000 followers. I hope you're part of that group. Nebraska, Michigan State over, courtesy of the Gold Sheet. Make sure to check out more of my videos, and thanks for tuning in.